Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Kara. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today because y'all already know it's Sunday, so it is mimosas and makeup. Now today's concoction, my sister just came home and randomly gave me this wine. It is Sutter Home Sweet Red, but I enhanced it with just a little taste of Ciroc Summer Citrus. Just a little taste. Just call that sangria up in this house. So excited, y'all. This is part two kind of my like mid-year favorites, mid-year review. And I am just gonna be going through all the palettes that I've tried, not that I've bought. No judgment zone, please. But we're gonna do that today. So if this sounds good to you, keep on watching this video. If makeup is your therapy and you love eyeshadow like I do, and you just wanna have fun and just have fun with the makeup and get excited about it, you know, especially if you don't have anybody to talk to about makeup, keep on watching this video. Definitely consider subscribing and joining the community because I would love to have you back. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I need to focus. So this is like my mid-year review, and I'm just gonna recap all of the palettes I have tried. I have many more that I have not tried yet, but we'll save those for the end of the year. Let's go ahead and get started. I think the best way to do this is by brand. I can't remember when things launched, so don't get me the line. I'm just gonna talk about how I feel about everything. And there's a couple fails in here, a couple, not many. So let's go ahead and get into it. We ain't got all day. So let's start with the one palette I tried by Colourpop. Now this palette was the Wild Child palette, and I actually purchased the entire collection of this. I love, be right back. You know, I just want to be great. I wasn't being rough. I wasn't being harsh. Look at that. And this is like one of the best Colourpop palettes. Look at my, I know this is TMI, but like, it's just too much. You know, when it's like you're trying to do something, you think it's gonna go smooth, and then just the elements won't let you be great. That's what just happened. And then I started refilming and didn't press record. This palette was great. The shade that fell out, Fierce, it's a very beautiful shimmer. May it rest in peace. I really liked this collection. It was brown girl friendly. I think it was everybody friendly. I really loved the tones in this palette. I saw a variety of people with different skin tones using this palette and using, you know, parts of the collection, and it looked great. I just think that Colourpop really turns people off because of how many launches they have that sometimes you just don't even look twice. You're just like, oh, another Colourpop launch. And then just like, you don't even pay much attention to it. But this one really caught my eye. Now I have bought some stuff from Colourpop recently, including the child. Sorry, I had to say that. Oh, okay. So that's it for Colourpop. Let's go to something a little more exciting. And that is the Glamshop. Listen, the Glamshop has been the find, okay? You know what I really appreciate about Glamshop is that not only are they an indie brand, they don't do pre-orders. When you are on their site, they tell you when your stuff is gonna be dispatched. It comes on time, your stuff is in stock, and it's just a guarantee. And I have really fallen in love with these monochromatic palettes. The shimmers that you get in these palettes are comparable to my indie singles that I have. And I just love having those in palettes because I realize I'm leaning more towards palettes than singles. So having that caliber of shimmer in a palette is great because I don't have to reach for anything else. We have Citronata, we have Burgund, which is like this beautiful wine palette. We have Laguna. I mean, come on guys. Got the caramel palette. Look at this, like, look at that. Look at that. I mean, for what reason? I cannot. I think my favorite one is Paprika. I cannot believe this just happened again. Not my Paprika! What's happening? You guys, this is just a bad day in the eyeshadow world. What is happening here? I cannot believe I just lost another shade. Am I slamming them down in excitement? Oh my goodness, guys. This, look at the floor. Look at the floor. I can't, guys. Oh my God. So, I'm gonna have to buy another Paprika palette. Colourpop, no, I won't buy that, but please respect my privacy at this time. I don't even know if I should hold any more daggone palettes up. I mean, at this rate, am I getting too happy? All right, we have camo. Okay, camo is gorgeous. I just might need to calm down. I don't know what's happening. And like, you know, I have no intentions on this foolishness happening during my videos, ever. Ever. Let me just be delicate. And then last but not least, I have my Glamshop singles. Now some of these, I think I purchased them all this year. I'm just trying to be very careful because goodness gracious. There are some beautiful shades. The newest ones that I have are the velvet shades. And I do have a swatch video of my shades, but I'm gonna do an updated one because I don't know what I've swatched, haven't swatched, but see, can y'all see this color flip here on these two shades? This one with the color flip is called Zigzag, and then this deep green blue is called Magic. These are some phenomenal shades. Glamshop also packs their eyeshadows beautifully. Like each shade has a little sponge over it in the palette. So I just don't know why my palettes broke like that. I hope that doesn't happen anymore during this video because that would make me really sad. This shade right here is Abracadabra. Look at that. Look how beautiful that shade is. But this, look at, Glamshop is a total win-win situation regardless of the shipping. You just, you know, make it worth your while and just try to get everything you need in one fell swoop and you will be good to go. Because I didn't have anything else I needed from them until my Paprika shade broke. So I will probably replace that just because that might be my favorite palette from the Glamshop. So this video has gotten off to a pretty rocky start. Hopefully nothing else will break. So let's move on to Mama Pat. There were two things I tried this year. One was the very first Mothership, Subliminal. Now I have owned this for a while, but I never used it until 2021. But this is the palette here. And I probably didn't reach for this as much because I'm more of a warm tone girl than a cool tone, but the looks I did with this palette were really beautiful. As usual, there are some exquisite special shades, especially this Blitz Blue, which is gorgeous. So if you like cool tone palettes, this will probably be the Mothership for you. Now with the Divine Blush collection, she did release the Venus in Floors Luxe Quad, Voyeuristic Vixen, and this surprisingly was a quad that I really liked. And at first I was like, just another kind of neutral quad, but it's actually very beautiful. And the shade that everyone seemed to really love is Rose Fire Nectar, which is one of those duochrome shades. I would say definitely comparable to what you would see from an indie brand, and I think a lot of people liked it, and I love the name Rose Fire Nectar. I think it describes the shade perfectly. So far, don't have any regrets on anything that I've tried. I have two palettes from BH Cosmetics that I tried. One was a new release and one was very old. So I didn't do a video on this, but I did purchase the BFF palette. This is a good palette, you know what I mean? I didn't really need this. Like when I look back on it, I think I got it on sale. So there's a couple really cute shades in here. here, like this shade Messy. It's just a very nice shimmer. And this is a duochrome too. Everything that I've tried from BH has been really good. This probably could have been a pass. The treasure that I found from BH Cosmetics this year is an oldie but I think goodie palette, and this is the Zodiac palette. Now I did purchase this from their website, but a lot of people are finding it at TJ Maxx. I saw it at TJ Maxx for $8.99. I think I paid $13 for it. Sometimes it still sells for $27. No, we won't. I love how, you know, they have the shimmer with the complementary matte, and then you have this like highlighter in the middle. I just think it's a great palette. I love these shades right up here. Like, look at those two shimmers. I'm just saying, $8.99. If you see this at TJ Maxx, don't be like, oh, this is an old palette. This is a good one, y'all. I don't know why that's Aquarius, but that's really, really pretty. Like, all of the shades in here are pretty, and the mattes blend out very nicely. I love the layout of this because it's like, if you don't know how to pair up the shades in the palette, just use the complementary matte that goes with it and you're good to go. It is a bit big, but it's kind of flat, you know what I mean? You can get a lot of cute looks from this. I'm just saying, $8.99, TJ Maxx. Remember the little TJ Maxx song to be like, TJ Maxx. No, it's never, ever the same place twice. Yesterday, last week, last Saturday. You got the max for the minimum price. And it's never, ever the same. Y'all see how things don't leave you sometimes? That's a mess. Now I can't tell you the last time I sung that song. Moving on. Y'all probably like, she needs some help. And that's not the that's not the drink either. That was my song. All right. Oh God. Moving on, let's talk about Odins Eye, the Norns. Very cute collection. Very, very cute collection. I love just the Norse mythology that went behind how this collection was designed. This came with 4 palettes, 1 big one, 3 small, and then 3 really cute highlighters. But this palette is really unique. Need to pull this out a little bit more. These shimmers down the bottom are really fantastic. They're just so pretty. Like, look at that. I can't see. Like, look how beautiful that, you know, this was my first time trying Odins Eye, and I was not sorry that I tried them. Like, really good palette, really unique and different color stories. I wasn't mad at all. Ooh, let me do Green Chameleon. I did do a video review of this whole collection. I just loved it. And you know, they did a mini palette for each of the Norn sisters. And my favorite palette of the minis was Erd. Look at this beautiful color story. It just reminds me of nature, forest. I just thought this was just, look at the depth of this green shimmer shade. Oh shit, I'm about to drop it. I can't lose no more shades. But look at that. That is beautiful. And paired with that brown, you get that grungy forest look. Then you have Verdandi. I love this color story too. It kind of reminds me of the fall. Look at this beautiful matte. The only one I didn't really like was Scald, just because it was all shimmers and I know I wouldn't use it by itself. But it's very summery and very fairy-like to me. And like I said, the shimmer quality is amazing. I'm still stuck on this shade right here. I did not get their recent collection. I just felt like the shades in there, I have some similarities to this one. I'll still keep my eye out for Odins Eye because I love the theme behind their collections. Y'all, I'm still a little devastated by my shimmers. When I was still teaching, I was carrying a lot of my eyeshadows with me to work because I was taking my pictures at work at the time. And I think maybe me like putting my bag down, taking it up, I'm not always the most gentle with my book bag. I think that might have been the reason for the Paprika palette. Now this Colourpop one, I don't know what happened with that. Moving on, let's talk about the ABH Norvina palette. This is the only thing I've tried from ABH this year. This is the Norvina 5 palette. Done several looks with this palette. Definitely a purple lover's dream. The quality in these palettes is amazing. Don't really care for this pressed glitter, but it's 1 out of 25 shades. And yes, you know, it can be, hold on.
You don't have to refresh.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got, oh. Okay.
You almost hit me with your eye palette.
I didn't almost hit you with my eye palette. Can you close the door? Can you close the door? I have nothing bad to say about this palette at all. Can this palette be edited down? I think all of the Norvina palettes can be edited down. I think some of these shades are gonna look the same on the eye, but you know, you got options here. I love that if you wanna go neutral, you can do that with the more purpley brown shades and some of the browns that are here. And if you wanna go purple, you can. You got nice brow bone and inner corner highlights. So this is a great palette for anybody who loves purple. I love this silver shade right here. This silver shade is really nice. Like, that's a good silver here. I really like that. And the purple shimmers I thought were excellent quality. Yeah, I just thought the shimmers were really nice. Let's talk about a brand I love, but it's hard for people to get their hands on the palettes because it's like they're there and then they vanish. This is Notoriously Morbid. Now, I am going to be doing a video soon about this brand because I actually have their latest palette. I have not touched it yet, but I'm gonna show it to y'all. The palettes are here today and gone tomorrow. When I order their palettes, I don't get them as a pre-order, but by the time I get the palette to review it or to show it, it's gone. And I always feel bad about that. So when I talk about Notoriously Morbid palettes, I'm not necessarily talking about them like, go get this particular palette. More so, I'm mentioning them for you to keep them on your radar if you like just really unique eyeshadow palettes, really unique color stories, and you want something different than what everybody else has. That's what I love about these palettes. You can tell that they're homemade, you can tell that they're hand pressed, and the quality is amazing. So the first palette I tried from the brand was the Rip My Effing Heart Out palette. This was their Valentine's Day release. Look at this color story. It is gorgeous. Like, they're just a really good brand. And she'll tell you the palette's gonna be available, you know, for this amount of time. And I know with this recent release, they had the palette available for that one, you know, order or whatever, that one launch. And then they kept the singles available for a week, like if you just wanted certain shades. And then that's it. That's all she wrote. Path of the Dark Side. Look at that. I don't know if you can see how this black shade shifts red. I don't have another shade like that, point blank, period, in my collection. Like, I don't know if y'all can see. I think you can see that shift to the red. Amazing. This color story was just spectacular. And if you are a grungy eyeshadow wearer, this shade right here, Sith, please. Like, what is this? Brown gray? If you're somebody that likes just really unique pieces in your collection, I would highly recommend Notoriously Morbid. Let me just sneak peek this. This is Absinthe and Lace. I can't. Like, when do we see palettes like this? I haven't tried this yet, so it shouldn't even be in this video, but so this, I already know this is a multi-chrome. You can tell with these shades. Keep Notoriously Morbid on your radar. I know people may get thrown off by the name Notoriously Morbid. I would say this is a good brand to try. Now, keeping on the indie train, I tried 2 palettes by Nomad Cosmetics. We have the Fire and Ice Iceland palette, and we have America's Parks. I recently reviewed America's Parks. Got like 4 videos on Fire and Ice. Took us all to Iceland. I'm really still hoping to go. Another very, very beautiful color story, beautiful palette, beautiful shades. I just thought this palette was very interesting, and the history behind, you know, the design of the palette was what really intrigued me. This shade right here, Gallows Lava Elves, love these shimmers. You can really make some different looks with this palette, and that's what I tried to showcase when I did my videos. I definitely feel the same about the America's Parks palette. Now that's like really fresh in my mind because I just used it. I made like a look inspired by the Everglades. I made a look inspired by the caves. I made a look inspired by the canyon. This is just a really beautiful palette. Now, I actually like America's Parks, I think, better than Fire and Ice. I like them both. The shade Big Bend, this shade, that might be my favorite one. You know, I like things that lean a little more grungy, but this is like a lavender brown. Mount Denali, which is like a glacier gray. That's also a really, really pretty shade. I'm starting to get glitter and shimmer all over my hand. This was a really good one, really good. 2021 was also the first year I tried Viseart. I know, it's crazy, but I don't know, I was sleeping on Viseart. These matte palettes are the perfect palettes for me to pair with my indie singles. This one is the dark matte palette, and I love these shades. This is the neutral matte palette, and this one has like that nice pop of blue. Now going into another all matte palette, I have the Blends palette by Blend Bunny Cosmetics. I think this is the best rainbow palette, hands down, because it includes those transition shades that we need. So you got all of your rainbow colors and you know, that gradient, but then you've got this bottom row with these transition shades where if you want to do, you know, a neutral look and then have, you know, a pop of color, make it interesting, that you can do that. And you have your browns, your white, you got gray, you got black, and some of these shades are gonna be great for deepening up these colorful shades or lightening them. I think she's working on another palette. This one was like 39 bucks. I thought it was totally worth it. So that's gonna segue me into another matte palette. And so we're just gonna go into another brand. Oops. We're gonna go into Alien Cosmetics. Starting with the all matte palette, which was the Capricorn palette. Now, Alien Cosmetics has a very nice matte formula. This palette honestly didn't speak to me at first, but once I got my hands on it, I was really happy that I had it because I paired it with another palette by Alien that I'm gonna show you in just a minute. These mattes are great. I love this shade right here, this kind of lavender gray shade, Rise. For me, no rhyme or reason to this color story, but at the same time, that's kind of what made it inspirational to me to use. This was kind of a pleasant surprise for me. I paired that palette with All I Ever Wanted. Now, I love this palette. I have like a sore spot with this palette because I would love for her to restock it. Everyone's asking, and now I'm seeing so many of these all shimmer palettes that are coming out. I haven't purchased any because I have All I Ever Wanted in All I Ever Wanted. Now, I know she says they're all duochromes. Some of them just look like high metallics, but regardless of what they are, this is an amazing palette and it was priced really well. We have the shade Neptune, like beautiful. Look at Passion, that's one of those wet metallics. Sphinx, which looks orange in the pan. This can be a standalone shade as well as a topper. That's Planet X. I mean, I honestly could go on and on. Alien also came out with a highlighting palette, and I am going to include that in this video, which was the Lowlights. I really liked this. I have not been wearing these blingy highlighters lately, but if I am gonna go for a blingy highlighter, I'm either gonna go for this palette or my Kaleidos Space Age highlighters. But these highlighters are gorgeous. They are multi-chrome or duochrome. And these highlighters can definitely double as eyeshadows, which is why I wanted to include them in the palettes that I've tried. The Lore palette came out earlier this year, another beautiful palette. I have seen this palette swatched on a variety of skin tones, and I just love the shine and shimmer in this palette. This shade, Basilisk, look at this green. Let's see, look at that. You have this shade Serpent. Serpent is like a really beautiful topper. I mean, it could stand alone, but this was another palette where I was like, I don't know. And then I got it and I was like, oh yes, this is giving me what it was supposed to give. You know what I'm saying? I think this one's gonna be made permanent. So let's cross our fingers, y'all, because you just never know. And last but not least from Alien, the Serendipity Strawberry Milkshake palette. Thought this was like a really unique, summery, fresh color story. And I really liked it. You can make like some like lighter pastel looks. You can get kind of deep, and you got your like neon green. I just thought it was cool. This was like a cool little color story, different. You know, I don't have a color story like this. I mean, obviously I could probably make this color story with singles, but ain't nobody got time for that. I thought I did, but I really don't. That's a beautiful pink shimmer. So I love this palette too. I mean, as a whole, Alien Cosmetics is probably in my top 5 as far as brands. So if you do purchase something from Alien Cosmetics, I do have a code, and it's Frizz Face, and that'll save you like 10%. And you know, if we can save money, we need to save money. I'm just saying. I do get a little commission from it, but I'm happy that I have the code where like you can save money, because Lord knows this makeup. So next, let's talk about Natasha Denona, Circo Loco. I don't know, y'all. Don't get me wrong, her quality is there. And when you see the swatches, you're like, oh my God. Now there are some great shades in here. Like, I love Razzle Dazzle. Joker is amazing. Aerialist is great. Snow Cone. But this is just not my favorite palette by her. I would probably put this second from the bottom. I made some cute looks too, but something about it is just not frosting my cookies. I do not like this cream to powder shade. I almost want to put it in the trash. I just don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't trust it. Do I need to sell this palette on Magari? Because that's where I'm at. Because here's the thing. I start looking at palettes and I start getting mad. And when I start getting mad, they have to go. Like, let me tell you, her bronze cheek palette, it had that bounce cream shade, and then I went in it months later and it dried out. I surely scraped that shade out and put it in the trash. I surely did. I still have it. The 2 bottom shades are there, but the 2 top ones, they gone. Because I can't look at stuff. I look at my palette, or I look at whatever the product is, and I just see dollar signs with wings. Is it an emoji that has a dollar sign with wings? That's what I see. And I can't. That's why I can't show y'all Zendo. And I feel bad, because my mom made me that beautiful rock. But you know what? That rock was more beautiful than the palette. So I'm glad. I take the rock 100 times over that palette. Zendo's gone, y'all. I'm sorry. It had to go. Had 60 days to return it, so I just returned it. I just returned it like last week, and you know what I got instead? I got that new Artist Couture palette, but I haven't touched it yet, so I can't include it. I don't know why she came out with that palette. It didn't even have anything to do with the mini Zendo. It had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with the price of rice, as far as I'm concerned. It had to go. That's where it is, in Sephora heaven. Now, also this year, I tried a new brand, ZC Cosmetics, and I had to get these Alice in Wonderland palettes because that is my favorite story. Now there are 3, but I've only tried 2. Y'all, packaging, I can. Look at this, gorgeous. Color story, A+, different, whimsical. The second palette, this was more like the Queen of Hearts. Different, unique, color story. You know, it might not be your cup of tea, but you gotta give this points for like creativity. These palettes were $35 on Amazon. So I got them like the next day. Now the third palette is the Flamingo palette. It's more of a pink like rosy type theme. So I still have to do part 3 of that, but you know, I got sidetracked, y'all. I tried the You Beauty palette by Glamshop Cosmetics. My first experience with this brand. One of these shades was broken when I received it, so so I'm hoping it doesn't fall out. It was this shade right here. I just pressed it back in. I wasn't going fuss because it, you know, it came all the way from Australia. Some really great shades in here, especially the shade Good Day. That's the shade here. This is like a really great shade. Unfortunately though, I don't reach for this palette at all. I don't know why. And I know I have a lot of eyeshadow, but for some reason this is just, it's not really speaking to me. And the swatches look great. The eyeshadow look was beautiful, but it's just not calling to me like that, y'all. And I hate when that happens. I hate it because I know like a lot of people love this palette. And I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying, like, when I think about standouts, it's not this. That's very unfortunate. So let's talk about some standouts. We're gonna start with Flower Punk. Flower Punk is a palette that I kind of was like, palette is beautiful. The looks were beautiful. It's not my favorite Kaleidos palette by far, but it worked so well. And I feel like this palette really gave me a lot of inspiration because I was trying to figure out how to mix and match both ends of these color spectrums. There's a traditional Kaleidos quality with their mattes and their shimmers. I have no complaints about the palette whatsoever, except I didn't need this. No one asked for this because nobody is putting this palette on display like this and nobody's going like that. I'm sure not. That annoyed me because when I'm trying to do my makeup, I can't really even do it on camera without figuring. I'm confused about what I'm picking up. Am I picking up the mirror or the palette? It's just too much. I did not need that. I do appreciate the what do you call it? The innovation. It's not even innovative because it's not making anything convenient. Well, not for me, but I appreciate the creativity is what I appreciate. And you know, Kaleidos probably has one of my favorite packaging as far as the makeup brand. I have that lovely dresser. I love that dresser. But what stole the show for Kaleidos was this Club Nebula palette. Credit might need to go to Angelica, but just that's all I have to say. Every shade is pretty. Every shade works. The color story is interesting. She planned a perfect palette. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. One of the best palettes of 2021. Mark my words. Mark my words on Club Nebula. So I tried Adept Cosmetics this year. I have all 3 of her palettes. So we've got Plain Jane, which is gorgeous and glorious. I mean, there's nothing negative to say about this palette at all. I think that my only issue with Plain Jane is just I like to have a couple mattes, you know, for this to go with. I think my favorite of the 3 might be Ninhydrin. And Ninhydrin is almost like, remember when, well, Ninhydrin isn't like this, but remember when Urban Decay had that palette, the Stone Vibes palette? That might be on its way to the makeup graveyard too. But it had like those 2 mattes and the rest were shimmers. Like this one, y'all, this palette is so beautiful. And I just love the 2 mattes that came in this palette, because you've got this kind of grungy olive and then you have this grungy purple. And when I use this palette, I don't have to pull anything else out. Codon, I haven't had for that long. But this is another really gorgeous palette and gorgeous color story. I love it. I love the 2 mattes. I love how she gives you the option to swap these out. But these whoa, hold on. Why don't I remember swatching this? Look at that. This reminds me of one of my Divina Aurora flares. But when you get shades like that in a palette, it just makes me so happy that it's like right there and it's available. Available for what? It's just available. Ninhydrin and Codon might be tied. They might be tied right now. I don't know. I gotta think about it. But hold on, did I swatch it?
like I never swatched this palette. Look at this one, y'all. Hold on. Oh, please respect my privacy at this time. Oh, holy. I'm acting like I didn't just do a review of this. Holy shit. I'm done. I can't. Show's over, everybody. It's time's up. Well, that's all she wrote for Adept, because that was just too much right there. We gotta put these away. Receive GB. Next, we have the Sydney Grace Talia collection. Oh, y'all. Y'all, you know what I'm about to show you. I can. Look at this rock. My mom really did this one. Look. Look how she got Magellan on there. This is so, I don't know. This might be my favorite. Look at the duochrome shades. I mean, come on. So these palettes, you know, a lot of people say they look the same, but they don't. And I know that it was a bit overwhelming, but you know, Sydney Grace is a tried and true eyeshadow formula. I want nothing more for them to just keep their eyeshadows the exact same way that they have kept them, because they are just, I've said it before, it's like a constant in this ever-changing eyeshadow world where palettes are hit or miss. I don't think Sydney Grace palettes or singles are hit or miss. They're not, they're always hits. So even if you don't like the color story, you would know that the quality is gonna be, it's gonna give you what it's supposed to give. That's all I'm saying. Very pleasantly surprised by Quintessence. I do think this might be my favorite of the three. I am gonna have some look inspo videos coming with these. I really, really love this palette. Now, I got all of these in the light shades. On the Horizon, oh my goodness, this is like your earthy palette, your neutrals that are in there, kind of. They're like around here, but I love this green. They're just different. Like once I swatched them all out, I was like, oh, okay. But when, you know, the teaser was going and you saw all 6 palettes, and you know, it was like the deep and the light, and it was just, I think it was a little overwhelming. And I know some people were so overwhelmed that they overwhelmed into not getting anything. You know what I mean? Radiant Reflection with the jewel tones. It's like a little jeweled rainbow. You know what I mean? I love all of these. Each palette like definitely has some shimmery goodness, some matte goodness in them. I just in good conscience could not pass these up. And even though I have a ton of Sydney Grace singles, you know what, I'm not gonna sit down and compare them because I don't care. Because I don't have them in this combination. That's how I justify things. Look at this green. Like, I'm gonna move on because y'all know how I can get about eyeshadows. So last but not least, y'all, I had to save one of my favorite brands for last. And I don't care. I don't care if they're hit or miss. I don't care if, I just don't care. I love Melt Cosmetics. They've got a special place in my heart. The 3 I tried this year, we have the Blueprint. That was first. Mary Jane was second. And then I got 420. Hands down, one of my favorite palettes so far this year, period, point blank. The uniqueness of the color story and the mix of the blues and browns with the neutrals just has my heart. I don't know what it is about Melt, but it's just, maybe it's the idea, the concept. I don't really mind using different techniques to make shadows work. That doesn't bother me too much. Melt is not a brand where you might want to just keep swiping the mattes on, you know what I'm saying, or the shimmers. They're like a pat brand, you know what I'm saying? You pat it on, you pat the mattes on, you pat the shimmers on there, pat them on. Stop doing all this windshield wiper swiping. It might take a little bit longer. It might. Mary Jane was about to go back to the store though, until I just figured it out. Like, I love this much better than Glam. I don't know if it's the layout. I don't know what it is, but I did have to work with it. But see, when people start having issues with palettes, for some stupid reason, it makes me want it more because I'm gonna get brunette. I don't care. don't judge me. I'm gonna get it. You know why? Because I want to make it work. That's why I got 420, because I watched all the reviews and I'm like, you know what? Nope, I need this story. I need this color story in my life. But let me finish talking about Mary Jane. Sweet Lucy. Sweet Lord. I love that metallic. I love that. Bomba and Santa Maria. Now I know some of these are close. I get it. They could have, you know, they could have switched up a little bit, but whatever. The mattes in this palette are some grungy goodness. They are grungy goodness in this palette. Now, these two shimmer shades, you know, they're okay. They're all right. You might use them, you know, as a topper. You might need to work with them a little bit. They might get a little bit of hard pan, but you know what? That's melt. I don't know what to say. Now, you might want to wait for a sale. You know what I'm saying? Because $58, you might be like, okay, for $58, I shouldn't have to, the palette should work itself. And I get it. I do like Mary Jane. I'm glad I didn't send it back, because I was going to send it back. That palette was going back. But then I gave it a chance. 420, last palette, y'all. Yep. Damn, this is the end of the video. Shoot. Okay, yes, it's powdery. You can't, it's so powdery that you might swipe it and the color goes away if you're doing too much. Just don't do too much. Get a primer, pat it on, okay? No, I know the shimmer's not super shimmery, it's not, but these mattes, look at this. So this is why a lot of people were really excited about Kaleidos, because Kaleidos really captured that melt vibe in this half of the palette. And you already know you're not gonna have any trouble with these mattes. You're not gonna have to work them. You don't have to figure it out. I don't mind figuring it out as long as I can figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I gotta get rid of it. Which is why Patrick Ta had to go. It had to go. Like, that was another palette where I looked at it and started getting upset, because everybody ranted and raved over that palette, and I just should have taken my own advice. But I don't know, like those shimmers just weren't giving me like what I needed. And it just, I don't know, when I went back and used it again the second time, I was like, no. I do like texture, but I don't want it to make my lids look like I'm old. You know what I'm saying? I'm already 40. So like, I don't need, and I don't have wrinkly lids. So I don't need something to do that. You know, I can't. So that had to go. It's sold on Mercari like that. They're lucky I didn't get it from Sephora, because I could have got my money back, but I sold it. So that and Zendo were like my two fails this year. But everything else, I'm happy with. And I'm gonna let you know, guys, there's a lot more eyeshadow to try. It's a palette problem here. So I love eyeshadow palettes, you guys. I do. So if you love eyeshadow palettes too and creative eye looks, let me know in the comments. Like, what palettes have you been loving this year? What have you been going to? What was your biggest disappointment so far? And what do you look forward to releasing for the remainder of the year? That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed listening to eyeshadow as much as I love talking about it. Even though I lost a couple shades in this video, it was totally worth it. So thank you guys for giving some of your time to me. I hope this was therapeutic for you, because it was for me. So until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself, talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I will see y'all really, really soon. Bye.